let's talk about people problems. More specifically, let's talk about how to diagnose and solve them. I have a really easy framework for you to figure out what the source of the problem is and the best solution. But before we dive in, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm Emily Melius. I am a talent management consultant and a career coach, so I know what it takes for people to perform at work. Let's get into this concept and topic of people problems. We've all got them. But the tricky thing is, how do you solve them? And I will tell you, if you don't have the right solution for the problem, you could actually end up making the problem worse. So really critical to getting this right is first understanding what's causing the poor performance issues in the first place. Then we can work on getting the right solution. So all people problems boil down to one or more of three things. It's either a skills problem, it's a motivation problem, or it's a job fit problem. That sounds simple, but that's really all it is. So if you can remember those three things, you've got the framework you need. So let's dive into each one of those a little bit deeper. First, and honestly easiest to solve for, is skills problem. So if somebody's not performing well in their job, does this person just need more training? Maybe they truly don't have the experience or know-how they need to do the job. They might be motivated, they might be a good fit for the job, they just need a little bit more help or training. And like I said, that's an easy fix. This is where you can sign them up for additional training. Maybe you have those resources available inside of your company. If not, there are wonderful technology platforms right now that make that available for very little to no cost. And you can certainly involve that person in this conversation. So ask, is there some skills or training you feel like you need? And how can I make those available to you? So if you ask those questions and you realize, no, skills really aren't the issue. This person knows how to do their job. They really have that experience and training. This is not the issue. Then we move on to motivation. And this is when we ask, is this person engaged? Are they even putting in effort on the job? So a lot of different things can cause a person to be disengaged at work, though I will tell you the statistics around this are pretty abysmal. Gallup said that in their study that they did in 2017, that only 1/3 of the workforce is actually engaged at work. So there's a good chance this is happening as part of your problem. But disengagement can be caused by issues at home. Maybe that person's going through a difficult time, a difficult relationship. Maybe they're dealing with some mental health issues, but it could also be caused by things at work. So if that person feels like they don't identify with the mission or vision or aren't even familiar with what those things are in your company, then there's a good chance they're going to start checking out. Or maybe there's some conflicts, some relationship issues inside of the office that are causing them to really pull back and put in less effort. If this is the case, then it's really important to do a couple of things. First, you can always let time pass. As they say, time heals all wounds. And there's a good chance that whatever is creating this particular time of stress in this person's life, particularly if it's in their personal life, that it will pass. Now that can be difficult because their productivity might suffer in the meantime, but that really may just be the best solution right now. You can also talk to them and remind them what the mission and values and vision of the company are. You would be surprised how many employees really aren't clear on what that is. So it's important to bring them back to their why. Why are we all here? Why are we putting the effort? And that'll really jumpstart their efforts again and get them hopefully re-engaged in their work. If there are interpersonal issues happening in the office, then that's also something you really want to get into and deal with quickly. Chances are this is not the only person impacted by this conflict, and it's something that needs to be resolved before anyone can move forward. And you certainly don't want this issue to grow. So get out ahead of that. Involve HR if you need to. Utilize some, conflict resolution best practices. If motivation and engagement turns out not to be your issue or not the entire issue, then we need to look at job fit. And what I mean by job fit is this. Are the expectations of the job and how it's to be performed matching up to how that person naturally operates? We all have natural ways that we take action and solve problems. We call that our MO, or our modus operandi. And though we can do things in a different way, when we do that in a different way, sort of go outside of our lane, so to speak, typically our results are worse, but it takes more effort, which is not a winning combination, either for that individual or for your company. So we really need to take an honest look at, are we pushing this person outside of what comes naturally? Are we asking somebody who naturally researches and delves deep and deals with specifics to constantly make quick decisions with very little information and to simplify on a regular basis? That is just not going to work in the long term. Are we forcing somebody who's actually innovative and pushes the envelope and does things in new and different ways to stabilize and avoid taking risks and not to step out on a limb? Again, that is not going to work in the long haul. If this is the case, then a couple of solutions could work. The first and easiest one is just to ask, are we having reasonable expectations about how we're expecting this job to be performed? So maybe there are truly different ways to get to the exact same results, ways that would accommodate that person's more natural way of doing things. If there's just really no way to rethink that kind of job, then we look to task bartering. So this is where we say, okay, this team or this group has to get these kinds of things done, but looking at how each individual person is aligned, maybe we can sort of reconstruct the tasks and who does what. So, you can do the paperwork and I'll do the presentation, for example. So encourage your team to think about what tasks they do best and barter the tasks that they don't as much. If that still is not working, then we have to look to relocation. This is when we look for other jobs inside of the company that person really is best suited for, so we can bring somebody into that job that is best suited for those kinds of tasks. So as a reminder, this is a pretty simple formula for diagnosing and solving people problems. That is, first look if that person has the right skills. Second, look to see if they're motivated and engaged. And lastly, are they the right person for that job in terms of how they naturally contribute? Once you've gone through that process and applied the correct solutions, I am confident that you are going to see that performance increase over the long term. If you find this helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. We are constantly producing content on how you can go from surviving to thriving in work, school, and life. Also, be sure to check out our website, launchconsulting.io.